Hey there, Max Rich with Totally Electric Guitars. We're talking about bending today. There are a bunch of tools that guitar players use, especially rock guitar players. But bending is one that is so common and is one that is really, prevalent in so many different kinds of electric guitar playing. Bends can be subtle, they can be huge, they can be very a very large focal point of the player's performance. You think like David Gilmour, or they could be something a little more subtle. If you're thinking, maybe like B.B. King or something, his bends were subtle but important. And there are ways of making your guitar playing sound a lot more vocal. Because vocalists can stretch notes and can pull notes slightly out of tune or all the way out of tune, or a good vocalist can really control the pitch very well, and a good guitar player should be able to emulate that. You've heard things like, something like maybe like what I played a little, a blues opening like this. Something like that, right? That instantly evokes, like probably 20 songs that you've heard in the past, But it has a specific feel and a specific character that I give it when I particularly play it. When somebody else plays it, it's going to sound differently because the way I bend a string is unique to me. And I mean, I can emulate other players and such, but I prefer much more to bend in my own style, as you should prefer to bend in your own style. Now, that being said, bending out of tune is not a style. I've had players, come in, like students of mine, tell them, and they bend, and it'll be like pretty out of tune. I'll say, hey, you might want to rein that in, get that in tune. They say, oh, well, that's my style. I'm entitled to my style. And you are entitled to your style, but you should play in tune. Playing in tune is pretty important, because if you're not in tune and you're playing with other people, you're going to sound bad. It's just, that's the way it is. You got to be in tune with everybody else, with the rest of the music that's happening. And being in tune is a huge part of bending, because when you think about it, when you're bending, you bend from one note to another. You're bending from one note to the next. And you want to make sure that when you do those bends, whether they're quick or slow or dramatic or subtle, that they are in tune, because you're implying a note. You're not just bending randomly. You should be thinking of a note and having that be part of your melody. So I'm here today to show you a couple little tricks, some exercises that can help work on getting you in tune while you're bending, because a lot of players just bend kind of sort of, willy-nilly there and not really pay attention to where they're going. You gotta make sure that you do know exactly where you're headed, that you know the target note, you know what it sounds like in your head, you know what it sounds like when it's in tune and when it's not in tune, and how to go about getting your note to match that one. So follow me.